Pop Punk and Pizza podcast is presented by Pop Punk Takeout, which is a monthly subscription box filled with merchandise from pop punk artists from all over the world. You can sign up at poppunktakeout.com, follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Pop Punk Takeout. And then additional support for this episode comes from pop punk alternative rock band Analog Drip. I almost said anal drip. Oh my gosh. From Jacksonville, Florida. And we're going to hear their new single, Party Song, later on in this episode. All right. So hang on tight and got that to look forward to midway.
I'm going out, I gotta go. I'll bang a rang on the radio. So turn it up, I'm telling you. I think I'm ready for something new. Hey, hello, it's nice to meet ya. Hey, come in and have a slice of pizza. Hey, hello, it's nice to meet ya. Hey, come in and have a slice of pizza.
You're listening to Pop Punk and Pizza with Jacques Lamour.
All right, hello and welcome. I am Jacques Lamour, of course. So glad to have you here for another great episode that I'm really excited about. Later on, we are going to be talking to a band called College Radio, and they're out of the Pacific Northwest region of the United States. A really great pop punk band. They'll be coming on about midway through the show. They've got a brand new single called Growing Pains, which we'll talk about. That's their latest song, and I'm sure we'll dive into other things. But before I welcome College Radio onto the show, we have a very special guest we get to talk to for a little while. The man responsible for making sure our summers were filled with endless types of punk rock for 25 years. Please welcome the founder of the Vans Warped Tour, Kevin Lyman.
Hey, Jacques, how you doing?
I'm great, Kevin. How about you?
You know, like we were talking earlier before we jumped on here. It's a summer. It's my first summer, kind of. I had 23 Lollapaloozas, 25 Warped, one pandemic summer, and now I'm actually kind of having that summer.
Yeah. So I was wondering, like, if you got to do that because even though, like, in 2019 there was only 3 different, Vans Warped Tour stops. I mean, there was still a lot to do, And in fact, I think I remember you seeing a tweet from you saying it was actually almost like more work to do than the whole cross country thing.
Absolutely. I mean, it was 3 complete, starting 3 set complete tours almost. You have to still get all the paperwork done. You had all the bands, your credentialing, all the information. Whereas Warped, it was kind of like took 3 days. We'd start maybe on the West Coast, and by that 4th show, you were kind of that machine that was kind of going down the highway, and a band would jump in or something would jump in or there, but it was more like get in the tornado with us, so you don't get kicked out the other side. And getting on the road and your body too, you start figuring out how hot it is out there and how it takes time for the body to adjust. So those first few days were always very fatiguing on the tour, and then we'd have a couple days usually to kind of get adjusted to the road.
Yeah, and whereas with those 3 locations you had going on, it was just like throwing yourself in there, and there you are, So, but good for you, man. Gosh, that's gonna be. How excited are you right now to be able to go on a summer vacation? Because like right now, it's even like kind of weird that we're talking because it's like it's the first week of July. Normally, it would be like the 2nd or 3rd week of Warped Tour, and we wouldn't even be able to talk.
No, I might see you in a parking lot. You're in
Yeah.
Chicago. It'd be, hey, what's going on? How was your year? How's it going? Gotta run, gotta go.
Yeah.
But it's been kind of definitely a period of time for me to slow down, work on like my own podcast that I'm having a lot of fun with. I'm actually producing a few shows coming up. A couple charity shows, so that's different. Hi there. I see your son just jumped to the camera there. How you doing, buddy?
He says hi. I know you can't hear him, but you want to say hello?
I'm waving.
You want to wave? He's
All right.
He's super shy. So it's I was gonna say the podcast. I've been really enjoying that. my warped life has just been it's been so cool to hear that.
Yeah, we've been hanging out, and it was funny. It was like, do a podcast. And as you know of anyone, like, how much work it is to put these things together, and uh,
Yes.
and so that's been actually, I think my wife's appreciated it. Me being out of that. It's another reason to keep me in the back house. Between being a full time professor, but that was 2 days a week. I was locked up in the garage, and she finally looked at me and says, "You either have to finish that book, or you have to start a podcast." And I had a friend that I got away during the pandemic. We would go play a little golf. I had some outdoor activities, kayaking, different things I like to do. And I said, "Hey, you want to be my co-host?" And that's Tony. And all the stories we do on our podcast are totally new to Tony because he's never been around my scene of music or around, so he's never heard those stories. And you get some good laughs and have a lot of fun. And the guests we've been having have been pretty fun.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Tony brings kind of a whole new spin on it because he wasn't. I mean, I'm sure he attended Warp Tour, but he was never a part of the crew, right?
Yeah, he really came to the last ones he came to San Francisco the last weekend with his son, who
Okay.
was 13, who just fell in love with the bands and the love of the music. And his 13-year-old son does all the music for the podcast. So
Okay, that's
yeah,
okay.
we're,
That's so cool.
we're, I pay everyone in barbecue right now. So it's so fun.
Well, I mean, that's really, I feel like that's something you're very familiar with because, I mean, how many bands were able to, or like their way of paying to be on the tour was to do that barbecue
Well,
at the end of every night,
well,
right? The
well,
barbecue band?
the bands were actually paid to be out there. They got money for the barbecue, but they had to haul that barbecue because it was always red hot when we had to leave.
Yeah.
And if we were hauling that behind a trailer, we would have caused a lot of more brush fires. We don't need any more fires in America. And I always had that vision that there would be some map across the country and it would synchronize with the Warp Tour. And it was like embers flying out of it'd be a great like CSI episode or something, or, that's a father's looking at a map up on the wall and trying to solve the great fire marshal, trying to figure out how these fires are breaking out, and looks at this map and it synchronizes with all the dates of the Warp Tour. We obviously we've been watching too much TV during this time.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
we've all been binge watching our favorite TV shows or discovering, new shows and whatnot. But I mean, that's one of the biggest things. I've listened to the first 2.5 episodes so far of My Warped Life, and I was just so fascinated to hear about the food. And that was one thing I was fascinated with too. I got to play one date of Vans Warped Tour back in 2008, and it was in Noblesville, Indiana,
Okay.
and it was on the Kia Kevin Says stage. Um, and I remember when we went to catering, um, I think it was, I think Color Me Fred was making smoothies for
Yeah,
everyone,
and
peach smoothies.
that was the coolest thing. I look at it as, and you look back at it, and it only worked when it was a community that cooperated with each other and supported each other. It really did. And the bands jumping in, they knew that the catering crew was the hardest working crew, and when they would jump in and help, that would attract some volunteers to come and help to serve food with the bands. Uh, I don't, it was a community that all pulled together and touring on the road with 800 people that gave a crap ultimately each
Hmm.
day. Whether you were putting up the smallest 10 by 10 tent out on the road to being the production manager, you gave a crap. And that was what felt good, being part of a society of people that knew that they had to get what they did done each and every day to make that show work. And if one piece breaks down, it could, throw a wrench in the whole process.
And that includes yourself, because I mean, literally almost every Warp Tour I went to, I would see you. I would see you out and about walking around. And it was always just so cool to see that, like that you're actually so involved that you're walking around, making sure things are cool, you know.
You know,
Um,
yeah, when we wound down Warp Tour, I think a lot of people, in our industry go right to like, oh, the finances, the money. It really didn't end because of the finances and the money. It ended for about 25 other reasons. And one of them for me was physically, I work a certain way. Before Warp Tour, I was working 13 years in the clubs, and I worked 320 nights, and I worked all day, and I was on stage, and I was setting up dressing rooms. And on Warped, I worked I was never going to be someone, one, sitting in a production office, or two, or riding a rascal around on the Warp Tour. And almost 60 years old. I ended the tour when I'm now 60. So my last shows was when I'm about 58. I mean, my friends would come out and they'd look at me and go, dude, I have no idea how you physically do this. I can't, one day I'm worn out. Not realizing that, like anything, you start building up you start, it's like boot camp the first week or so. And then you're
Yeah.
kind of getting in the mode. And I think anyone who ever spent over a week on that tour know that you start building up that tolerance. And we make it look fun when we walk out and it's 118 degrees in Phoenix and go, it's not too bad today. We were here 3 years ago and it was 122 in Phoenix. We always psyched ourselves up into being able to do that each and every day.
Yeah, and what's funny, that reminds me of that going back to that one date I played Warp Tour back in 2008. I was only 18, so I'm not thinking about some of the things I'm saying. And so there used to be there was like a trailer, like a computer lab for the artists and everybody on the tour, right? It was provided by Guitar Center or something.
Yeah, Guitar Center, we were always trying to figure out and address situations. Some of them were cultural, some of them were just basic things like internet, you
Yeah.
know, and 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 we would find a sponsor like Guitar Center and say, look, our artists and road managers and crew, we don't have enough internet to make it work for everyone. Why don't you create something that benefits the people out on the road so they could communicate? Because so many of the bands were starting to line up tours in Europe or the U.S. tours or getting over to Asia, and you needed a place for them to work. And a lot of times they just didn't have access. And a few years later, everyone had a hotspot on their phone, or was it, things changed and things, but we always were trying to address things in real time.
Yeah, didn't need that trailer anymore for
Uh,
that had all the computers in it. But I bring that up is because so the computer lab trailer, I was walking by there, and Aaron Barrett from Real Big Fish was sitting outside of the trailer because there was like some chairs and maybe like a tent or an maybe it was an awning off the trailer. And it was really hot that day, but we're in Indiana, we're not in Phoenix or LA or, anywhere on the West Coast where it's even hotter, right? And so I'm trying to strike up a conversation with Aaron, like, yeah, it's like, it's really hot today. And he's just kind of like, yeah, like, it's just like, he's like, dude, like, I'm from California. Like, this is
we
nothing.
and we've already been through Texas.
Yeah, like at that point, it was just kind of like, you know,
But in all seriousness, I started, you know, taking like average readings of temperatures when we went out on the road. And, when we
uh-huh.
started the Warp Tour 27 years ago, the average temperature was in the 80s when we toured the country. And by the time we ended, the average summer temperature was about 91. And, psychologically, I play in a game. And I mean, being in that kind of heat, I mean, that's one of the big reasons was the weather. I mean, the weather has changed, and not to get on a political rant, but
No.
this climate change is real. And if anyone can tell you, it's someone who was out on the road for 28 straight summers and watched the patterns of the storms, the weather, the average temperatures across the country. Uh, I don't know how much longer, you know, we could go on like this, to be honest, as a country. So, I'm like looking at tours coming back, and we keep talking about wanting to have greener tours. I think we read a lot about green tours and greening. And then, but as we get bigger, as bands get bigger, they tend to bring more things with them, more semi trucks, more tour buses, more of everything. I'm like, the real young person out there that's sharp and could figure out how a band used to need 14 semi trucks to do an arena tour can do it in 9 trucks. That's going to be the future. The future is going to be how to do as much with less, or at least equal to as what we always had on touring. Because right now, I think a lot of people are finding they want to get back out on the road, and vehicles. I don't know if you've been reading about tour buses. I mean, I've been following it, ever since the beginning of the pandemic, and truck drivers, bus drivers, they went out and found other lines of work.
Yes. So how are they going to get them back?
What
Like they might be happier with what they have, or they might be making more, or
And in talking to people that have been working in the business and things, you never really knew what you had because you were on this lifestyle is so go 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 tour go go that stepping out of it for a second, you didn't realize there was another world out there.
yes.
Now, I think opening up the business, and there's going to be a lot of opportunities for young people coming into the business. But I think the discussions about mental health and taking care of ourselves on the road, people are willing to discuss those things now, where before it was like the show must go on, the show must go on, never complain, you know, power through it. Now I think people, from what my discussions are people like, whoa, no, I'm going to have to get, sleep is important once in a while. Uh,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, exactly. And but I think that's something you always recognize too on Warp Tour with even going back to the food again, like kind of passing things off to someone else and give them a chance to actually make some decent food for everyone, because that was obviously so important for, you know, the health of everyone on the tour.
Yeah, we found, that if you needed a good diet to keep up this thing. You can't live on pizza and burritos and things. And it's great. I love no against punk rock and pizza. You can have. I love. We have some great pizza in our neighborhood too. But you know what I'm saying. You got to have a
Yeah.
balanced diet. You need to be able to, had those resources out there. The lifestyle we lead. Could lead to excesses, and sometimes you don't realize because that path of acceptability is so wide in our business that a lot of times you're spinning out of control before you realize what's happened to you. And I think we're all being put on some accountability amongst each other, that we need to preserve what we're doing, and so people can have a long career. We want bands. I want to see bands, 20 years down the road, and for pop punk, I'm excited to see someone like Machine Gun Kelly, who
Yes.
who kind of came out as a hip hop guy on Warp Tour. Man, he wasn't. He was always he was an interesting guy. It was more the people around him that weren't the easiest people to be around.
I
But
was gonna say, what was your interaction with? I completely
I,
forgot he was on Warped. That slipped my
uh,
mind.
my first interactions were like with many people that didn't understand it. That look, you're under this umbrella. You need to cooperate while you're with us. Don't be an asshole. Kind of, you got to work.
Yeah.
And then he grew, and I watched him mature into who he was. And then all of a sudden, now taking that lead in pop punk and bringing along, seeing Maud's son have this moment, and
Yeah.
I'm like, they're going, wait, Avril Lavigne, I tried to get her on Warp Tour forever. It's like she would have, and now she's a pop punk girl again. It's awesome. And
Yeah.
so maybe there is this scene coming back together. Um, we used to have it with our punk bands. It's great. We've got this punk rock museum being built in Las Vegas.
I was gonna say, are you a part of that? I would assume
Yeah,
you are. Okay,
yeah.
because
I've been invited. I'm an investor and on the board and going to help work. But it's so fun because I'm talking to my peers again. I'm talking to Fletcher. I'm, Brett Gurewitz. I'm going to talk to Greg Graffin tomorrow about some. We're all talking, and this is my peers.
yeah,
And then there was this moment in time where I don't know if there was any real leaders of that scene that wanted to bring it together. Arguably, I think some people would say there is, but I didn't see that. I've seen that with like Mayday Parade in the Maine in some ways. They've tried to take that kind of elder statesman now role there of trying to do some cool stuff, with what they're doing with Sad Summer and those kind of things. I see the scene really kind of went in all different directions. There was no leadership amongst it, but maybe that leader is someone who had to come in from the outside, and that's going to be someone like Machine Gun Kelly, who's now, got his own festival. He's bringing from hip hop what I thought was always cool, how bigger artists always appeared on the younger artists' albums or collaborations, and I'm seeing all these awesome collaborations. And if they could keep that up, you might be able to really kick this world off again in a very, very strong way.
yeah. I absolutely agree with that. It's a really exciting time to see pop punk kind of seep its way back into the mainstream and get that light again from the general public, and like, oh, like, so it's still a thing, like it's cool if I'm into that,
Yeah,
and
it's never gone away.
it's
You know,
never gone away. No,
and
absolutely. And that's what I always say. Anytime someone says, oh, pop punk is back, I'm like, well, it obviously never left. But I mean, bringing up like Machine Gun Kelly and everything, it's kind of, it definitely is is helping for sure. And yeah, maybe like, or even like, because Travis Barker is behind a lot of these people, and of course John Feldman too. So,
Oh
I
yeah.
mean,
I mean, come on. It's John Feldman's done some of the best records, ever.
yeah,
And Travis is a leader. Yeah, it's like there must be like three Travis Barkers because he's playing in three different places, tonight, doing some sort of
right?
guest appearance or jumping in with someone, and that's great to see. I mean, group of people like stepping up, saying, "Okay, we're going to help you out. We're going to jump in your songs. We can bring you along with us." Taking that's what Warped was about for a long time, taking a step back to try to move everything forward. A lot of those bands that I've mentioned earlier, the Bad Religions, the Pennywises, the No Effects, Less Than Jakes, they knew that it wasn't about necessarily getting every dollar out of Warped Tour, but being on Warped Tour every couple of years brought the scene forward. It left money to book younger bands. We had a lot of all those second stages and things that probably we didn't really necessarily have to have, but it gave the finances to be able to bring those stages out and introduce these young bands that eventually would all grow together. And I don't know. It's strange to be kind of sitting on the side, which is cool. I'm doing some benefit shows right now. I've got something coming up for a recovery event. Looks like I'm going to be producing an event for a tribute to the scientists who developed the vaccine.
Oh,
So I'm
awesome.
so I'm kind of lending my kind of skills to my old production skills to people who need them right now, because there is so much going on as we reopen.
Yeah. And bringing up Warp Tour, and I read a rumor that Chris from Attila is trying to bring it back or is insistent on that, and I was curious as to where that comes from.
Look, I don't, I, 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 I don't, I never want to say never with stuff, but and look, we had a great cruise a few years ago, the Warped Cruise.
Yes.
That was super fun. I wouldn't say never. I don't think there'll be a 40 city tour again or something like that. Someone else can figure out how to tackle that issue right now.
Right, you were talking about with the trying to be green and efficient and all that.
Yeah,
It's
it's
it's tough.
and right now, I mean, I could see bands. I mean, we were talking earlier. Fuel prices are up. I don't think see them going down for quite some time.
No.
It's going to be, maybe we're going to be, I would it be nice to do another show on the beach? That was sure a lot of fun in Atlantic City. I mean, that was great. The cruise would be great. But right now, I'm focusing. I'm full time professor. You know, and having a lot of fun with my students, getting them involved in shows and trying to teach them that you're going to make mistakes. I made mistakes. There was mistakes. Obviously, I was learning on the go. No one taught me how to do this. I had to learn everything as we went. There was mistakes, and I'm trying to help a younger generation avoid some of those same mistakes that I made, and understanding that. So I'm really having fun working with my students, and I'm helping them get jobs right now, and seeing some of them out helping at events. And there was a great guy named Chris Bullard who just did a Sound Mind Live event in Ventura for mental health, and he had All Time Low and Fits of the Tantrums, and I was able to get some of my students up and help him.
That's so cool.
So if I can get them in good situations, learning learning how to try to do good business, but do a little good with it.
Yeah, I was wondering, like, with being a full-time professor, how how do you start your students out? What exactly is it? Just teaching them like production skills, or
No, I
what do you overlay? I haven't heard enough about your
well,
being a professor.
well, I do about five. I teach five classes, so I do everything from branding and marketing to philanthropic thought and entertainment to live production and touring. And I tend to start my classes in the sense that I tell them that I think you all know how to learn to get to where you're at. You know how to learn. You can memorize, you can learn. But many of you have not been taught how to think. And so I tell them it's going to be a very, very hard to fail my classes. You really have to try hard because your job is to challenge what I put out there, agree, challenge. You're not being judged by it, or come up with a better way to do it. And I so far, I guess they offered me another 3-year contract, so I did 3 years.
You
So
must be doing well.
I must have done at least well enough, or maybe the professor pool's so small they can't find anyone.
Oh, I doubt that. I mean, with your experience with, creating this phenomenon, this culture, this scene, I mean, I don't think they could go wrong. You know so many things, and you helped create so many other things that came from Warp Tour. So I'm sure it's got to be a great fit. And I would wonder, like, when I'm trying to think of how to word this. What are some of those mistakes that you tell them to avoid, or like some of the mistakes that you made along the way?
Well, it was one of those things that what's sad. Some of the stuff that came up with some artists maybe that some inappropriate maybe behavior that they were doing, not on Warped Tour and in some other state. That I still believe there's due process in this country, and a lot of times that due process takes time and thought and trying to figure it out. It took me a moment because I didn't understand it quietly. So that's why I got involved with groups like Voice for the Innocent, and met Jamie, and he helped me process some of this stuff. But it was tough because you also, as people, we wanted to try to react, and I realized you can't debate, you can't educate, and you can't fight on the internet with everyone.
No,
Everyone, I
it's a
think
lost cause.
yeah, it was a lost cause. And I didn't realize that because I came from a world that was more like if someone had a problem with you or something, there was a discussion. The punk rock world, we may not agree on things, but there was a discussion. If someone were to confront you, they would come and talk to you about it. All of a sudden, some of this stuff was going on the internet. I don't know these people. Many of it we turned out to be trolls and bots and different people. I found out later on because I hired people to investigate this type of situation. But I was reacting to it because I thought everyone deserves a response.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
Exactly.
I come from a world that everyone just, and we've all learned now you can't do that. But this was like a turning point. I remember the first time I saw a message board. Okay, the first time the internet message board. You got to realize Warped Tour started before when the internet was just kind of kicking off.
I was gonna say, I think AOL was really
Yeah.
starting to
Yeah,
take off right around
my
that
email
time.
address was kevinwarped@aol.com. I finally got rid of that year of 2019. My office was like that. Can you imagine how much spam I was getting?
Oh my gosh,
In
dude.
2019, I had that since 1995.
I can
You know?
only imagine.
So
You're a pioneer of the internet, man.
Oh yeah, we're OJ. Like for a while there, you would never want to say you were on AOL. But
Right.
then it kind of flipped to that you were OG on internet. You
Yeah,
were
you were
AOL
cool.
too. You were cool.
Yeah.
But I blew that up, and the first message board, and this was a key that I learned about Warp later on, was that year that I booked Blink 182 and Eminem. When I announced Eminem, these message boards just like blew up. Kevin Lyman must die. Burn
Oh my
Kevin Lyman.
God.
Oh, it was. We got your son sitting right there, so I'm not going to be using all the words.
I think he just went upstairs and he
I
can't
just
hear
scared
you
him away.
because
I just scared him away. So.
yeah, he can't hear because I got headphones on.
So it was gnarly. So
Yeah.
I realized that, wow, people were taking this tour very, very seriously, not only myself, but other people. So I always learned that lead with the bands that they want to hear a lot of times, and then kind of slide in maybe that different sounding band or something, don't, try to piss off. So learning those kind of things,
Yeah.
I owe probably some people an apology, but I was learning. I was trying to figure this out, and it's a different world. The world changed over a quarter century of doing something that was a passionate group of people that we were promoting and working with. The world was changing, and we're trying to figure it out as we go. And yeah, not everything's personal, but I think we did some pretty cool stuff. And I always say, you come stack up your life at one point. And my life probably on the back end of it right now at some point. And I'm like, well, I feel in the long run, I've had a life well lived. I still have things I want to do. Only thing I'm going to do is run out of time. And if I can help other people, that's really what I have time left to do. So if I can go help someone produce a benefit show or be in the back end or sit there early in the pandemic, just talking people off that emotional edge, because I feel I woke up almost with survival's guilt every day because I wasn't going to have my first tour in 25 years. I didn't have my life on the line, my financial security on the line for the first time. And so many of my friends, the rug was pulled out from under them. That, like, you were on the phone and you were just like, and we did lose a lot of people.
Yeah.
We've lost a lot of people, a lot of crew people, a lot of people did not make it out the backside of this. Uh, and I think, but though I think a lot of us helped some people that probably wouldn't have get through it.
Yeah.
And now we got to move forward, and it's going to be a world that the young people want to be. A lot of us are sitting there going, we found that the pandemic kind of brought us to a new kind of grounded us in a way, and I don't know, lots still to do. But
Yeah,
it
no,
sure was fun out there.
yeah, no, you're right. It kind of reshaped the way we think or see things. Gave us a minute to kind of pause and think. Kind of like how you're talking with your students. They know how to learn, but do they know how to think? Kind of thing. So, at least that's what I took out of the pandemic. Anyway, it was just taking more time to think about things. So, but Kevin, I would love to keep talking, man. But I gotta get to my next guest. So I would love to
Yeah,
pick your brain another time. So
absolutely happy to join. This is fun.
yeah,
Maybe I'll give you a report on. I'm calling it the driveway tour I'm going on because I called friends across the country and asked them how long their driveway was, so I can if I don't find a campsite, I can pull in and camp in their driveway. Uh, Thank you so much, Chuck, for having me on the
no,
show.
no, thank you. And yeah, I mean, enjoy your first ever. Well, not first ever, but first summer vacation, and who knows how long.
Yeah, 30 years.
30 years, and stay safe. And you're going to Nevada, you said?
We're going all over, all over.
All over.
We're
Okay.
moving, and if they can get that Canada border open, I'm probably going to
Hey.
try to get across that and see some friends up in that country because it's
Is
such a
it not
wonderful
open
place.
yet? I thought it was.
This is the week they're trying to start to. I don't know. It's like loosening slowly, but it'll take it more than
Okay.
a week or two.
Yeah, that would be good. I hope by the time you're near there, you
Yeah.
can make it over.
It
So
might be the only place under 90 degrees in America, in
I
North
was,
America.
yeah, maybe, but with global warming, who
Right.
knows?
All
Um,
right.
but so my Warp to Life podcast, please check that out. I mean,
Yeah.
it is so great. There's so many great stories, so entertaining. I know you're at this point 10 episodes in, and I mean, you could do easily 2,000 episodes, if
Yeah, I've
not
got a really
more.
cool. We were recording one. We're starting to put it together. It's gonna be really cool because we're going back to the original founder of Golden Voice, which was the first company that I was working for. That spun eventually into Coachella. But I had Gary Tovar on my backyard for 4 hours.
Oh,
Had a
wow.
great time with him yesterday. So
Wow. Yeah, that'll be a great one. I can't wait to hear that one.
yeah.
Any other plugs you want to put out before you
No,
head out?
just
No?
get out, support just support this music. I mean, like pop punk never goes away.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's what I'm always saying. You got it. All right. Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you. Take
Yep.
care.
You too. All right, Kevin Lyman. Let's give him a round of applause once again. Wow, what a great guy! What a great guy. We literally could have talked forever. Before we get to and bring the pop punk band College Radio on, I just want to remind you once again that we are presented by Pop Punk Takeout, which is a monthly subscription service that sends merch from pop punk artists from all over the world straight to your door in a takeout box. Now, for this the upcoming month of August, they've teamed up with Whoa, That's Fresh Publicity, and put together a special box with a lot of the artists that are affiliated, excuse me, with Whoa, That's Fresh. So the pre-order is going to be available soon at poppunktakeout.com, and you can also stay up to date on everything by following them on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Pop Punk Takeout. And then additional support for this episode also comes from Analog Drip, which is a two-piece pop punk alt-rock band from Jacksonville, Florida. They've been playing in pop punk bands together since high school, and they have the liver damage to back up the party lifestyle they portray in their lyrics. So if you're trying to have a good time, and shake your moneymaker. You're not gonna find a better fit in the scene. So let's take a listen to our party song.
I wanna hear a fucking party song. Smash the TV out on the lawn. Jumping in the pool with our clothes off. Fuck the neighbors, Karen, call the cops. She says her boyfriend's waiting, putting her clothes back on. Back of my mind, I'm thinking I'm fucked but not enough. Another line, shots with lime. Yeah, all my friends are wasted. One more time, shots with lime. Tequila makes me naked. I wanna hear a bucket party song. Smash the TV out on the lawn. Jumping in the pool with our clothes off. Fuck the neighbors, Karen, call the cops. So let's light it up, 'cause we give no fucks. Might end up in cuffs, but they can't catch all of us. I wanna hear a fucking party song. Black lights and broken glow sticks. Showers with strobe lights on. Body paint Mona Lisa. Puts candy on my tongue. Another line, shots with lime. Yeah, all my friends are wasted. One more time, shots with lime. Tequila makes me naked. I wanna hear a fucking party song. Smash the TV out on the lawn. Jumping in the pool with our clothes off. Fuck the neighbors, Karen, call the cops. So let's light it up, 'cause we give no fucks. Might end up in cuffs, but they can't catch all of us. I wanna hear a fucking party song. Let's sing a hymn to the porcelain gods. Beers the blood, the bodies these crushed. Lest we're backstabbing, 'cause we're not waking up. Thou shalt not kill the vibe, so turn it up. I wanna hear a fucking party song. Smash the TV out on the lawn. Jumping in the pool with our clothes off. Fuck the neighbors, Karen, call the cops. So let's light it up, 'cause we give no fucks. Might end up in cuffs, but they can't catch all of us. I wanna hear a fucking party song.
Analog Drip with Party Song, one of our wonderful sponsors for this episode of Pop Punk and Pizza. Please show them some love and support. All right, without further ado, it is my pleasure to welcome Gordon, Evan, and Mikey of College Radio. Welcome, guys.
Whoa!
How's it
Hey!
going?
It's going It's going great. I can't complain. How about you guys?
Good.
Tequila
Tequila makes me naked.
What's
It's
that?
not as hot.
So,
It's not as
tequila
hot.
makes me naked.
Tequila makes you make it. You know,
Naked.
what's-
That's so
Oh,
funny.
naked.
Yeah.
What's your
Oh, you're naked now. Good.
tequila? Yeah, I mean, if you could get naked now if you really wanted to. But
Oh, that chair.
I think
Too cold
Maybe
out here.
tequila.
yeah,
Sorry.
what's going on with
Jimmy
your
Buffett
chair?
has his own tequila brand, right? You can get Margaritaville tequila,
You
right?
can.
Okay, I
Yeah.
didn't realize he had his own tequila. I was thinking, well, actually, I think he just sold it. But George Clooney, he had
Yeah.
that Casamigos or whatever.
Is
but I
that
think he-
tequila?
Yeah.
Or was it mezcal?
No, I could have swore it was tequila.
Mezcal.
But I just remember I was out to dinner one night with a friend some years back, and we went to, I think it was TGI Fridays, and
Nice.
we ordered, it must have been margaritas or something like that. But anyway, we didn't realize when we ordered these drinks that it had the Casamigos or whatever the George Clooney tequila was, and when we got the bill, the price, because I think we got 2 drinks a piece of this drink. The price was through the roof. Like the drinks were super expensive.
Damn it,
Um,
George.
Worth
yeah,
it?
George,
Worth it though? Were they good?
Oh, top notch. They were so good.
When
Right,
will
for
it
the
be
price?
enough, George?
I guess it was worth the price, but yeah, I think he sold it to Jay-Z or something.
What? All
Yeah,
right.
see? I mean, if you think about it, like tequila is like that. I mean, from my experience, it's almost like a little shot of cocaine or something. Because it's like I swear, I do a little shot of tequila, and I'm like, whoa! And we could do it all night. But anything else, you do whiskey, all that, and you kind of no boy.
The,
Well,
the agave plant is a stimulant.
I'm like, oh, okay, I'll see.
there you go.
Mhm.
Hornitos,
you know,
baby.
The the tequila helps with the growing pains, right?
Oh,
That's why I don't grow anymore. I'm so short.
that's called a segue, and that was a
That-
A+ one.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm here all week. Thank you. No, it's funny. My son has been going through some growing pains lately because sometimes he'll come to me and he'll say, "Daddy, my legs hurt," you know. And I remember like when I was his age and older, I remember like at night like watching TV and my legs they would just ache for no reason. And it's because, growing pains. I don't know if you guys ever remember that or experience that, or maybe I'm just crazy, but,
I always thought it was like a restless leg thing, but I used to have that. But I'm
Yeah, do
also
you remember
super
getting-
short.
So do you, Gordon, you kind of remember getting some aches? Like
A little bit.
Yeah. How about you, Evan?
I never really did, and I'm super tall. But I just like wasn't able to really like divine it from the massive existential ennui that I was already feeling at the time. Maybe
Yeah.
it's like a little bit of leg aches didn't even hold a candle to teenage Evan's deep emotional trauma.
So emo. Is
Yeah.
what he's just too busy dealing with all the emotional trauma. And then how about you, Mikey? Do you remember growing pains? Ever feeling them?
I played a lot of sports, played a lot of soccer especially, so I was always beat up. But
So
I remember my
Okay,
hips
okay.
would ache, and
Yeah, exactly. That's what I remember. So,
No.
but obviously, I think growing pains. Your song, your most recent single, probably has nothing to do with that. Probably has to do with other things. So when you're referring to growing pains in the college radio song, what are we referring to?
I mean, it's kind of around that whole same thing. Honestly, it's the growing pains that you have with your friends growing up, like whether it be losing a friend, whether it be growing distant from your friends. I mean, the funny thing is, if you listen to the chorus, a lot of people think, "Oh, shoot, he's singing about being in the bathroom with a girl," or you know what I mean, like that. And my partner was asking about it. She's like, "Is it like being in the bathroom with like, doing stuff in the bathroom?" I was like, "No, not at all. It's actually about like being younger and like everyone. Not everybody has, but we've all kind of partied here or there. You walk into the bathroom with your buddies, you smoking some pot, or you're just doing something stupid. So it's like in the bathroom that one time."
Are you trying to finally fess up to some things?
Oh
Is
no,
this
very
the
very.
the reconciliation hour for Gordon?
No, we've had intervention. It's okay.
We've had-
I'm not
Nice.
sober.
Nice.
Sort of.
It's sort of. Well, I mean,
Pot is okay.
well, sure. I mean, as anything is. Well, no, not anything, but marijuana and alcohol are okay in the the right amounts, right? So
Heck yeah. I just got my interlock off my car, so.
Oh, nice.
Oh, congrats! This is the first I heard of this. Way to go, buddy.
Wait, the interlock on your car, is that like the
You're blowing that thing for like a couple of minutes, and it's this pain in the butt. And every couple minutes, you have to keep doing it, and then anybody in your car has to look at you and be like, "What are you doing?"
You really have to do that every couple minutes?
Yeah, it sucks. Ask Mike, he knows.
Wow.
Yeah,
Mike knows
Yep.
about this too, huh?
I've
You're
driven
up
it.
here from
And you've heard it too. I hate it, dude. That thing sucks.
It's not as bad as if you think of it as just like a trophy that you're being awarded for being the king of partying.
So
And
You
then
know,
you have to
it's
pay
like
monthly.
it's your
It's a
lifetime
monthly trophy.
achievement award, you know?
so
Ah,
It's like
it,
hanging up your number.
yeah, pretty much. So correct me if I'm wrong, this is a machine that you get after you've like been pulled over or gotten a ticket, right? For like a DUI or DWI, is that what this is about, right?
pretty much. And I highly recommend
Okay.
everybody to Uber. That's the coolest thing we have now. You have zero excuse. Back in the day, we didn't have Uber.
No, we didn't. Back in my day, you
Back in
know.
my day, we would just walk home.
um,
100
Back in
miles.
my day, I would just take the train and try not to get in fights with people.
well,
Get
there's
out of
that
here!
too. Now, are you guys actually in Seattle, or are you in the surrounding suburbs, or?
I'm in Seattle.
Okay.
Seattle, and then suburb or surrounding suburbs. I'm my arrows. Both me and Mike are out in Everett, which is about
Okay.
25 minutes.
Okay.
It's like
Okay.
15 when I'm doing it.
Oh,
Dang.
we go. It's about 30 because everybody wants to go to Seattle for some reason when we go. So
Yeah.
I mean,
ugh.
I've only been to Seattle once, and it was when I was on tour, and so I didn't really get a chance to, explore or really see the city or anything. So like for like someone like myself, like what do you recommend checking out in Seattle? Like what's really cool about Seattle?
Okay, first off, I have to ask, which venue did you play?
Ah, you beat
Um
me to it.
I knew
it
it.
was man, I can't remember the name of it. So so I wasn't playing on this tour. I was working for a band selling their merch.
Which
And
band?
so the band was called The Action Blast, and they were
Okay.
on
Cool name.
tour. They were on tour with Trapped. And
Okay.
yeah, and there's a whole story here, and actually it's been a while since I've talked about Trapped on the podcast, but I actually during that 3-week tour I was also Trapp's merch guy as well. So
Oh, so you were trapped.
literally Trapped, yeah. There you
Circle
go.
in my head.
Yeah,
Oh, he's got the
Dude, that has to be
Yeah.
either the
Oh.
Showbox or El
Yeah.
Corazon. Or it could have been Studio.
that's what it was. That's what it was.
Showbox?
No,
Corazon?
no.
El
Yes.
Corazon.
Sweet.
Yeah,
Nick
El
Corazon.
Corazon. Yeah, and it was, when we pulled into the venue, it was like the stereotypical Seattle, really dreary that day, nasty. And of course, this was in the winter time. This was, what was it, January or
Oh yeah,
February?
Seattle dominates
know?
January.
Yeah, it was not pleasant outside. It was very, very foggy. It was just a nasty day. So that was my experience in Seattle, and that was it. So it looked
I
like
would
Gotham
say-
City.
That's pretty representative of Seattle. I'd say you got it. You got the idea.
Yeah.
At least you got to play before they were, or like be there before all the weird pandemic stuff.
Yeah, that's true, because this was 2013, so this has been some time ago.
Wow, Trapped was at Elko in 2013.
I think I remember that show actually.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, if we're talking that area, like what's super cool about Elko, if anybody's watching here on tour, you come visit, you go to show at Elko. It's super close to Capitol Hill, which is a super awesome spot. I mean, it used to be really awesome, but now it's a little, let's just say overcrowded. But if you watch the news or paid any attention during the pandemic, it's where the Chop was. So what was the second name? I don't know.
So what's pizza like in Seattle?
Very good.
Yeah?
Yes, I have to say, Pagliacci pizza, spelled Pagliacci, but it's Pagliacci, damn it, is absolutely fantastic pizza. And I just found out recently that they don't have it outside of Seattle.
Oh, so this
Oh, I
is
didn't know that.
very, very special.
Yes, it's fantastic. They do vegan pizza. They do very pretentious, artichokes and grilled
Wow,
garlic pizza.
man,
It's so goddamn good.
that's pretty fancy. What's your favorite, Mikey?
I worked at Pizza Rock in Sacramento for 5 years. I waited tables there, and that there was like this world-renowned pizza chef owner guy. I had never had pizza like that. There was like a 900-degree like wood fire oven, gas brick, electric brick. They had like truffle mushroom, you know, balsamic vinegar, arugula pizzas. Yeah, it was pretty badass. So
Wow.
I have to vouch for that. But
Yeah.
I haven't had much pizza here. I guess maybe generic
it's not a
pizza, but not like
Seattle.
that. You know,
That,
show
that
me.
also sounds super good. Like
Right.
you guys are really making me want to take a trip out. Oh, look. I spy a pizza and like
Oh,
oh, wow. Is that it's
Little
not
Caesar?
delivery, it's DiGiorno. What
it's not from my house.
what what's it where's the pizza from, Gordon?
We're gonna say Mod Pizza. That's one of my favorites
Ooh.
out here.
What's it
Ooh.
called?
Mod Pizza.
Mod pizza?
Do
It's
they
like
have
Chipotle
that?
Chipotle.
pizza.
Not
It
to be
sounds
mistaken by the mods and
I was gonna
punk
say
rock
mod
stuff.
yeah, like the mods
Oh,
and the yeah.
it could be.
Yeah,
Don't like.
it's mainly run by greasers, yeah.
Oh,
But
okay.
it's like Subway, so you go in there and you pay one price for your size of pizza, and then you get as much toppings as you want. And you can
Dude.
be like, dude, give me some more of that. And they're like, okay. And so like I don't eat meat anymore, but when I did, I would just get like everything. So they'd have, once it goes through the oven, it's like this tall and it looks like a
Yup.
lasagna. And I'm like, run that
Man.
shit through twice, buddy.
Oh. All right,
And you get a nice beer. Woo!
And they're like
I'm
$7, man. It's pretty good. And they're run by surly teenagers who don't care what they're doing. So they will give you as much of something as you want.
Oh yeah. They'll be,
okay.
hey, we got an extra of this. Do you just want it? Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It's the name of the game.
I'm going to I'm booking my flight right now to you guys. So
My man.
Come on down.
There is one, like 2 blocks from my house where we practice.
that sounds really good. That
I
sounds
know.
very
Then
very
Here
good.
too.
I gotta try that. Yeah. So I'm definitely gonna have to hit up those places when I'm out in the Seattle area because that
Whoa.
sounds absolutely good. Did you have a bus go through your room?
Yeah.
What happened?
Whose house is that?
It's probably me again. My chair. And I know. Let me close my window a little bit.
No, it's
And-
super
and-
hot out here in the Washington, so I
And-
totally get it.
Sun just came out.
And Gordon, you have I want to say what shirt you got on there? You have
I have
like
a pizza shirt.
Midnight Movie. Is that has to be a band, right?
Yes, it is.
Is
It's
that a local band?
wait. This
Oh,
guy's
it's
band.
Evan? It's Evans.
Oh.
Okay. So is that a current band besides college radio you're doing right now, or was that before college radio?
Yeah, it was before college radio, but also currently. We were opening for college radio on Halloween. And so Midnight Movie played, and then college radio played, and then Gordon came up to me and was like, play bass in college radio. And I was like, cool. So now I do both. So now I
Perfect.
play bass and sing in 2 pop punk bands, and I try and convince myself like, no, they're really different. Like this is a Midnight Movie song, and like this is a college radio song, but it's all the same.
Yeah. Nice.
Fun and catchy.
I mean, how could you say no to that face? You know, how could you
Yeah.
say?
I was also extremely sauced up too because it was Halloween.
Yeah.
Counterparts was playing in the other room too with Stray from the Path. So it was
Oh.
just like, and I had just gotten home from a tour I was doing with my other band, No Home. So I was just really stoked to play a Halloween show at College Radio and be at home. And then Counterparts in the other room, a kick-ass band before us, Midnight Movie. And we were playing with, if I'm not mistaken, it was Home Safe, Young Culture, Kayak Jones, and Keep Flying. So it was
Yeah.
a really,
Oh
really
my
fun
gosh.
show.
That's a really great
Yeah,
lineup.
Keep
Looking
Flying
at
was
the
so
poster now.
tight.
Yeah.
Oh,
Those guys are so good.
I keep bugging them every time they come out this way or we start making our way out that way. We have to link.
Yeah, yeah, you definitely got to link with those guys. That'd be well worth it. So what's going on with college radio? I mean, we talked about Growing Pains, which has already been out since April. I was thinking about that, like when I saw that, I was like, oh yeah, it was April. I was like, yeah, that was just last month, right? And it's like, oh no, it's July. Holy cow! Like
Oh,
it
it's been
just
like
went
four
by so
months.
quickly. Yeah, it's been 4 months already. So, what you guys got cooking? I mean, I've been seeing that you have had your first show back, right?
Yeah.
How was that?
Freaking sick. Like
Yeah.
it
What
was
how what did that feel like to to actually play in front of an audience that you could see?
unprepared, if that makes sense, when it comes to like the first note. You're like, oh, we've been practicing. I mean, we got
Uh-huh.
together through the pandemic. So it's like
Uh-huh.
that first note, you're jumping around. I totally was out of breath already. Like run up to the mic, I'm like, and we open with Growing Pains. So like that song
Oh.
hits like right away. It has
Yes.
some of the higher vocal ranges too. So I'm just kind of like, okay, I got it. I got it.
Yeah, that's the one. Whenever we play it, you're like, "Give me a second, hold on," and you gotta like wind up. But
It's like,
the
when
first show
Tom
back,
DeLonge always gets ready right before he goes into, that one song. My
yeah, no,
brain
I love
just
that
totally
one.
had a part. I
That one
love that
song
too.
with that one part, and
That
it's
one
got
That
part,
yeah,
that
it's got
one
the
time,
bass and the drums in it and the guitar, and I sing in it. You know that song?
I know
You know
that
which song I'm
one.
talking about? Yeah.
Oops.
Being back on stage was especially weird because the venue that we came back on stage, Tony V's Garage, they've been so good to us. That was the place where we played our last show before the pandemic really hit. And I distinctly remember that night because it was like the night before they started announcing like things like the state was closing up, so the vibe in the room was so negative and so worried, and like no one really knew what to do, and the turnout was not great because there was this virus going on and no one knew. Like people were talking about your car getting stopped by a police checkpoint to check to see, if you were supposed to be driving or something like that. Like
Oh my
people
gosh.
were so scared and worried. And contrast that with like a year and a half later, we're on the same stage playing to some of the same people, but it was just so positive and so happy. There was way more people. The venue was sold out this time, and it was just like, we're open, we're ready, we're back, we're still here. It was just night and day, the difference. It was so good to be back.
Good, good. I'm glad to hear that. How about for you, Mikey?
It was my first official show with the band, so I was nervous as balls. I
Oh, well,
yeah,
welcome to the band.
thank you.
Yeah. What does everyone play, by the way? I'm so sorry. I completely forgot to do that whole thing.
I play drums.
Okay. Awesome.
The
Well,
saxophone. No, play guitar. Play the
well,
guitar and sing.
I
there
played.
was. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, that's fun. I play bass.
Okay, right. I was gonna say, I guess we did kind of touch on that, but you brought up the saxophone and made me think there was one of your songs I was listening to earlier today, and I can't remember the name of it, but it sort of had a little bit of ska guitar going on,
Yeah,
just a little bit.
that's
I
I
can't.
used to get messed up, right?
That might be the one.
That's the one with the ska ending.
Oh yeah,
It
that
was
that
towards
could
the end of the
totally.
song.
Yeah.
That we want to bring in a friend to do possibly horns during that
Mm-hmm.
with the because I do the lead over that, and just for a little fun, you need to have some horns when you do some ska stuff. Like you
Yeah.
have to,
Yeah.
like
Oh yeah.
once at
Yeah,
least.
and we've got a little more ska coming out. I don't think anyone would get in trouble for announcing that much.
Really?
Uh, but I'm a huge ska fan, and
Same here.
so like one of the songs we just knocked out is inspired by my love of like old school ska punk, like No Effects and Against All Authority and crap like that.
Okay. Awesome.
So
Oh, it's so good.
hope
It's
hopefully
fast.
yeah, it's a treat. Hopefully you enjoy that when it comes out. Get ready.
Oh, I'm sure I absolutely will. So is that going to be coming out like anytime soon or?
Hopefully soon. It's
Gordon,
it's nuts that you bring it's nuts that you
can
bring
I
up like
say
how
this year?
this year. Yes,
Okay.
yes, that's easier.
I
We
mean,
Yeah.
do have a new song coming out, and we've said it a couple times. We're just kind of finalizing all the, just the little things to get everything ready for this next. I would call it the next level of college radio, and what we're going to be doing with these new songs and this new LP, and because we
I
have
would say Growing Pains was like the beginning of season 2 of college radio.
kind of like
I
how
would
Right?
Rick and
say I
Morty
would
do that
say
like one
so.
episode and then wait a little bit and then you get the rest.
Yes, exactly. It's so people can make those 38-minute YouTube videos analyzing all the stuff in that one song.
Yep.
Well, I mean, I definitely can hear it's a new beginning for you guys because Growing Pains is really well done. It stands out from the other songs,
It
and
is well
it
done, yes. Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. And so it does kind of, and I mean, Mikey, you got a new drummer. I mean,
This is Mike's first track actually with the band is Growing Pains. So
okay,
Yeah.
awesome. So yeah, I mean, there's so many great things happening for you guys. I'm glad to hear it's going well. So it's well deserved. I mean, I think I was first introduced to you guys when you sent me that Christmas track, right, Gordon? Was that what it
Uh,
was? Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that was well, yeah, let's see, it's July, so that was like 7 months ago, right? So, but that was a lot of fun.
A new yearly tradition. I mean, everybody does a cover song or does this and that. I wrote the small core part of the song a couple years ago, and it was just like I gotta do this. It's September. We gotta record this song now. 2 years later, I was like, record this song now and have it ready for Christmas. And then Evan had this really fucking awesome part for the middle because we wanted to have it like silly, kind of blinkish, but still college radio. And I had this big chunk of a bridge that just was instruments. So it's really perfect just to add in something a little bit silly and then go back into the chorus.
So
I think people
yeah,
liked it.
the goofy part is if you haven't heard it, it's extremely dark. And I was very inspired by that song Christmas Shoes?
uh,
It's,
maybe
it's
sounds
a,
familiar.
can I cuss?
Yeah, yeah.
It's fucking awful. But the song is about a guy who's waiting in line to buy Christmas presents, and this kid is in front of him in line, and he's trying to buy shoes. And he's like, I have to buy these shoes for my mommy. She's dying, and I want her to look pretty for when she meets
Oh
Jesus.
my
And so
gosh, yeah, I know what you're talking about now.
the guy was like, I got to write a Christmas song about that right
Oh my
now.
God.
So I find that to be so distasteful and so maudlin and so over the top, like atrocious. And so
Yeah.
when Gordon played me the song, it was like not corny, but it was like fairly serious as far as a Christmas song goes. It was pretty straightforward, just like Christmas, Christmas. So I was like, well, dude, we should do it like Christmas Shoes, but take it, 10 times further, like way past the realm of good taste.
Yeah. Yeah.
And anytime it seemed too fucked up, we were like, well, no, we're doing it like Blink-182. Like they would do this.
I
Well,
had to
you
ask a
pulled.
couple friends, be like, "Hey, do you like this? Is this a
It-
little much?" Like, this
Is
is
this
awesome.
okay?
I think you guys knocked it out of the park. You pulled it off well.
And we
So-
didn't burn my apartment down either, which
Well,
is
that's
really
good. I was gonna say that was good. There's another plus to come out of it.
I did for real set myself on fire, but the apartment was okay.
And I believe
Well,
Mike
that's
accidentally
good.
kicked a good present into our filmographer pretty
Oh
hard.
no!
Oh, yeah.
No!
That
Oh
happened.
man!
It was
Right
a
in the
very
face.
kinetic
Love you,
shoot.
Brian.
Well, it's been great meeting you guys. Finally getting to talk to you, Gordon. I apologize that I'm hard to get a hold of sometimes, but I'm glad we could, finally work this out. So,
Hell yeah.
yeah.
I'm
Um,
stoked.
so I want to close out with Growing Pains, if that's cool.
Hell yeah, let's do it.
And before we play Growing Pains, you want to like plug anything, like any upcoming shows or
yeah.
the social media handles and all that.
We'll start with our social media handle is pretty easy around all platforms, College Radio, PNW. add us on Spotify. You can find us on there. We're on all streaming platforms as well. We are in Seattle, Washington. We have a bunch of shows coming up all throughout the year. We have a show being announced tomorrow. I won't say it. We have Tacoma on July 30th. We have our headliner show at El Corazon, 9/11. We're really
Nice.
September 11th with our good friends in Crossing Crusaders, Always Naked, Living with a Bear, and our very, very close friends, Dusty Cubby. I love you guys.
Oh, love Dusty
Um,
Covey.
you can start noticing that we're starting to announce some shows with Authority Zero. We're really stoked on that.
Oh,
So
that's
if,
awesome.
if you're
Congrats.
listening and you're from California, we're going to be out in California. So
That's
we'll
awesome.
see you guys
Yeah, we're
soon.
going to be doing a run of dates with AZ up and down the West Coast in December.
That's
So we're going to be getting out of the Northwest for a little bit in the winter.
That's
Mhm.
great.
The
Yeah,
worst
those
time,
are
right? But
great band, you know.
Oh,
And
so
Oh.
good. The new
Yeah, I
record kicks
remember.
ass.
mhm,
Yeah,
I
I remember
agree.
seeing them when I was a kid. I at that point I was not like I'm gonna play with them Berkeley.
Awesome. Well, I'm super stoked for you guys. And I can't wait to hear new music, especially that more ska punk influence track whenever that drops.
Oh yeah, keep your eyes peeled for that one, baby. We'll send it to you.
I
There is a
will.
banger
Thank
coming
you.
out next too, though. 11:59 is the next one. We'll say that. We will
Okay.
say that. Video
Okay.
and song coming extremely soon.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it
Well,
bangs hard.
Extreme goofy movie soon.
yeah. I like
Maybe.
Goofy. I like Goofy movie.
We
That
love
was one of
Goofy
my
movie.
favorite movies growing up. It's a classic, you know.
That is the best pizza I think I have ever seen, and that's weird to say that I think the best pizza I've ever seen is cartoon pizza in a underwater themed hotel room. But
I mean, they make it look really good, so you know.
It's the only one that looks better than the Ninja Turtles pizza.
Oh, that's
oh,
true. Their
it's
pizza
that
does look pretty good. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good point. Good point. Yeah. All right. Well, Gordon and Mikey and Evan, so great to meet you guys. College Radio, please show them some love.
Woo!
Yeah, and check it out. We're gonna give a listen to "Growing Pains" right now here on Pop Punk and Pizza. You guys take care.
Thank
Later,
you for having
guys.
us.
Later.
Woo!
Hello to the world of what there and soon to be.
College Radio with Growing Pains here on Pop Punk and Pizza Podcast. Please show them some love. And a big thank you once again to Kevin Lyman, legendary Kevin Lyman, the founder of Vans Warped Tour. It was so great talking to him. I feel like, obviously, with his background, we could have talked for like 4 hours easily. Maybe we'll have him back on for another round sometime because I'm sure you have more questions. I know I have more questions for sure. So, yes, thank you once again to Kevin Lyman, to College Radio, and to you for listening to this podcast, and our sponsors as well, Pop Punk Takeout and the band Analog Drip. Please show them some love and support as well. So we will be back next Wednesday. We do this do the live stream recording every single Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central Time on our Facebook, our Twitch, and our YouTube accounts. And if you don't catch the live stream, you can always watch it on YouTube. You can catch it there later. It'll be saved up there. And you could also just listen to the podcast version. That's always available the next day on all podcast platforms every Thursday. So next time we get together is going to be Wednesday, July 14th, and that will be with Cheer Up Dusty and Aim High. So I'm looking forward to talking with you then. In the meantime, make sure you follow us on Facebook, also Twitter and Instagram at Pop Punk Pizza Pod. Also our website, you can catch up on previous episodes there. You can buy merch. You can find out how you could become a sponsor or find out how your band could be on the podcast, get your music played or maybe an interview. All of that stuff is at poppunkpizzapod.com. And if you can go a step further, give us a positive rating and review on Apple Podcasts. I would truly, truly appreciate that. I'm Jacques Lamour. Have a great rest of the night or, great rest of the day whenever it is that you're listening to this. I truly love and appreciate you.
Hey, hello, it's nice to meet ya. Hey, come in and have a slice.